Hey Ashley, it's really great to see you again. How have you been doing since last time I saw you?
I've been doing okay, just trying to go day by day.
Definitely. I can relate to that myself too. Um, is there anything new that's happened as far as your situation goes, or anything new you'd like to speak about before we go ahead and start into the session today and go over those forms that I emailed you?
Um, Not really. It's just kind of been the same stuff that's been going on since the last time I talked to you.
Okay. Same feelings, same emotions,
Yeah,
all about the
for the
same.
most part.
Okay.
hmm
Well, I'm glad to hear they at least haven't gotten any worse. Um, so let's just go ahead and jump right into one of the first forms I had you fill out. So that was the general self-efficacy scale. It's just to kind of go over your ability to cope with like certain situations in your life and difficult situations and how you're able to handle them. Um, on your own. So after I looked over everything, kind of tallied everything up, it looked like you got about a 27 out of 40, which definitely means that there is some room for some assistance and intervening in order to help you find ways to work towards achieving what your goals are here and learning new skills for overcoming difficulties, the difficulties that life can throw at us. Um, so it looks like you answered moderately true for most of them, um, which I'm glad um, that they were most in the upper answers for sure. I kind of just want to go over a little bit about the ones that you marked for hardly true. So it looks like there were three of them. You said if someone opposes me, I can find the means and ways to get what I want. You said hardly true. Can you tell me a little more about um, why that is?
Um, I just think that it kind of just boils down to how I've been brought up. I never really was able to get my way,
Okay.
so I don't really feel like I have the ability to just kind of manipulate things to where it works out in my favor, if that makes
Okay.
sense.
Absolutely. So just something else that's kind of tied to your past and how it's now still presently having a play in your present, right?
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense. Let's see. And you also said that you can remain marked hardly true for that you can remain calm when facing difficulties because you can rely on coping abilities. So you said hardly true for that. Um, what do you see as far as for yourself that you're lacking in being able to um, face difficulties and remain calm? I know you said you have a lot of anxiety, especially nowadays with what's going on in your life. So what would you say is like the biggest hindrance or a lack of coping ability for you to be able to face things that are difficult that come your way for you to say hardly true?
I just think that for um, I don't know how to say. Uh, I guess the easiest way for me to explain it is that I have always had a hard time with coping. Like I've never really learned how to cope with stress.
Okay.
I've kind of just piled things on, and I never really developed any type of healthy coping mechanisms. I think I just bottle things up, and I feel like that's why I kind of have a bad temper because I get really snappy with there's so much stuff on my plate at once.
Okay. Um,
Does that answer your question?
yeah, definitely. So that just having a lot on your plate, really, and never having been able to learn kind of ways to cope with things like that is what makes it a little bit more difficult for you. Does that sound about
Yes,
right?
I just. hmm
Okay. Okay. Um, well, it sounds like you're very aware of that. So I'm really happy to hear that you're aware of how your past plays into your present right now. That's great. And then the last one you marked on here, just for hardly true, was that when you're confronted with several problems, you can usually find several solutions. So it sounds like you have a little bit of a hard time finding solutions for certain situations sometimes. Um, just give me a little more detail or maybe an example on something like that, just so I can understand that a little more about how you've handled problems in the past and trying to find solutions for them.
Mm, I think, like I said, like it kind of ties into the whole coping mechanism thing. Like I feel like sometimes things are always coming at me. Like I have so many things coming at me at one time that I don't really know like where to start. I think that I guess it's what it's called, like snowballing, when things just get so out of control. I don't really know how to like take it day by day, step by step. Like, and that's why I'm like wanting to learn what to do, how to take things day by day. Um, but I think like I'm not really sure. I think that might be like the problem. I'm not really good at finding solutions because I kind of am pessimistic, and I kind of feel like there are no solutions sometimes.
Yeah, yeah, that's totally normal.
But
Okay,
I'm
so
not really sure. Like this stuff is kind of all unsure to me in a sense. I'm still trying to figure it out.
definitely sounds like just finding a sense of optimism or positivity is like a really good start for you, probably. Just so you can start feeling like there is solutions to certain problems that might come your way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so as far as that goes, um, everything also is about moderately true. I'm glad to hear and to see that. So I just took some notes down from what I heard. I'm just going to keep those together, um, just for kind of my record keeping track of um, the different ways you see yourself as being able to handle problems in your life. Um, so thank you for going over that with me and for your honesty. We're going to move to the next screening that I had you fill out. I'm just going to go over a couple of questions that you answered in there. Seems like your answers were pretty scattered for the most part, which definitely tells me that for the most part you were pretty sure about what you were feeling. You definitely leaned towards one way or the other. There were some though where you were undecided. I definitely want to go over those, just ask you a little more information on that. Particularly, I'd like to start with the ones that you strongly agreed with. So you said that you strongly agreed with the fact that you are ready for self-improvement. So what do you see as far as self-improvement for yourself in reaching something like that?
Self improvement. Um, I think it's just what I've at least heard from like other people is like I think that I let my emotions get the best of me, and just kind of learning how to take control over that, because I feel like sometimes that might be why things kind of trickle out of control, um, and I can't really control that piece of me, I guess.
Okay. So your goal really for self improvement is just kind of based on the fact that you want to be able to take control.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Have a handle on those emotions and feelings and stuff. Okay. You'd also strongly agreed with you thinking that it's going to be extremely worthwhile for you to work on your problem. Um, I'm really glad to hear that you have an effort to want to work on your problem. I'm curious as to why. Um, Like, why would you say you put a 5 that you strongly agree as to opposed to like a 4 or a 3? What makes you so sure that you want to work on your problem?
Um, I think, I mean, I don't really know. It's kind of, I think, I mean, I did put a 5 for that because I think that like my deep feelings are that I lost a lot of myself along the way of me like being such a toxic, unhealthy relationship,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't feel like the same person, and I really just want to like backtrack, but also kind of like gain new skills and gain new abilities to be even better than I was before. So I feel like, that's this thing.
Okay.
That
No.
makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. So you want to work on your problem is so you can feel like the same person again. Develop those skills and abilities to get you back into feeling like that person that you feel like you were before, and having your priorities and feeling like you had a hold on yourself and your choices and the different relationships in your life, and like you were in control.
Mm-hmm.
That definitely makes sense. And let's see. There's another one I wanted to go over. So you had marked undecided for the one that says I that you have faults, but there's nothing that you really need to do to change them. Could you tell me a little bit more about what those faults are and why you don't think you need to change them, or why you were undecided as to whether or not you need to change them?
I mean, I think that it's just I get a little. It's a little confusing in the sense that I'm aware that in a I guess what I'm learning throughout this process that like in a unhealthy like relationship, um, it's easy to kind of just like be submissive to whatever's going on. It's easier to just kind of go along with things because you just get so caught up in that. And I just feel like I'm not really the reason why my relationship was so bad. Like I'm trying to like be more aware of that,
Okay.
but also I do feel like it is my responsibility to like not go back to my old habits, I guess.
Okay.
So like I don't feel like it's my fault that this stuff happened, but then sometimes I do.
Okay.
And then I know that I need to like change that about myself to where I don't go back to having a really bad relationship again.
Okay.
It's kind of weird. I don't know.
Yeah. Let me try to rephrase it. So like you're aware that you need to change, but you're not sure that you're necessarily the root of the problem because the way the relationship has basically impacted you and made you feel as though you're the one in the position of being with somebody that has the problem, and you're kind of just stuck in that cycle. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but at the end of the day, you do realize and recognize that it comes down to you, and that you are aware that it is your choices that are um, continuing the cycle, but you're not really sure if there's much you can change yourself. I
Or
guess.
how to change it. Like I just feel like it's easier to say, oh yeah, like screw that guy, he's awful. But I feel like there's just always going to be like a piece of me that like still has like feelings regardless of what's happened, and I feel like that's what's scary is like trying to um, maintain not going back despite how I feel.
Okay. So then, just to kind of add on to that question, because you marked undecided on this one as well, I think it kind of flows into this one pretty good. You said undecided for the one where you think you have a problem and you think you should work on it. So it sounds like you're kind of in the middle on not really knowing if there is something that you need to work on, but also that you do kind of think there is something to work on. So can you just kind of explain that answer a little more?
Yeah. Um, I think I'm aware that there's like I feel like everybody has things that they can work on. I feel like no matter what situation you're in, I feel like there's always things about ourselves that we should work on, but I think it's a matter of how. And I think that's what trickles down to like my like coping mechanisms. Like I don't know how to cope with things. I don't really know how to like fix situations. I know it needs to be fixed. I just don't know how.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's kind of like the purpose of me being here is like
Absolutely.
I don't feel like anything that I've done has worked,
Mm.
and I really need to figure out like deep down inside how to fix things, not like why. 'Cause I feel like it's obvious. Like I think that a lot of women who are in really bad relationships know it's bad. They just don't really know how to get out of it and like maintain themselves. But I feel like that's what I think that's what my problem is. But I just that's why I'm learning from being here with you. Like it's more than just like there's a lot of layers underneath what's going on.
Absolutely. So, in what you just said to me, you keep referencing to fix things. What do you see as needing to be fixed? What are you looking for as what needs to be fixed in order to get you to where you'd like to see yourself at the end of treatment with me?
Just kind of like standing my ground. Like I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I don't have control over my own life, and that's scary. And I feel like just helping me like gain control over
Mm-hmm.
what I can control would that's kind of like my biggest goal out of this.
Okay. So fixing things to you means gaining control back over your life.
Yes. Sorry.
It's okay. Sounds good. And then let's see the last one. Um, okay, so this was another just like a final important one. Um, I really wanted to just kind of hit base on with you and get a little more information on. Um, so for this question, you also marked undecided. I may be part of the problem, but I don't really think I am. So what do you see as the problem that if you don't aren't referencing yourself as part of that, what do you see as is the problem?
Um, I don't really feel like I'm necessarily the problem. I don't think that like I do anything to for the stuff that happens in my relationships. I think it's just um, I guess developing more like boundaries for my relationships that um, will kind of limit, I guess, problems. Like I don't feel like I did anything in my past relationship to where like it ended up the way it was. If that makes sense. But I feel like the problem in itself is that I keep dating guys who kind of have similar personalities. So kind of just figuring out what my boundaries are and sticking by it. Maybe
Okay.
just kind of hard. I don't really know. Like I don't really feel like in relationships. Like I don't really feel like I'm the problem personally.
Okay.
But yeah, I keep going back, so it just doesn't really make sense.
Um, okay. So, um, if you necessarily wouldn't think that you're the problem, what are you looking to learn out of this for yourself to help you resolve this problem that you're explaining of dating the wrong guys? Do you like what do you where do you see yourself at the end of this treatment as far as to avoid um, something like that ever happening again? Well, what would you like to see you have gained to prevent that from happening in your future?
Mm, I don't really know. It's kind of hard to think about because I think it's just so many things. It's kind of hard to like put it on one specific thing, but I would say kind of just like going back to what I said earlier, just like learning how to take control over my situation. I just think that I feel like I've kind of given up, and I need to kind of gain that sense of like drive again to just kind of like take care of myself. I don't really know how
Okay.
to.
Getting your drive back. Okay. So if that's the case, then what's a goal that you could see for yourself as having and working towards, um, like as soon as you leave my office today? What's something a short-term goal you could see yourself accomplishing and working on? So we can touch on that next time I see you.
Mm, short-term goal, maybe, I don't know, it sounds kind of dumb, but maybe like not going on dating apps because I feel like those probably aren't the best places to make genuine connections with good guys.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then what's your? I know we kind of touched on this a little bit, but what's a long-term goal for you? Where really would you like to see yourself? Um, and I can help you get to by the end of all of
Mhm.
this.
Like I think like just the overall finding my purpose and like finding I feel like just being able to stand on my own 2 feet and being able to take control over my life and not let other people run it. I think that that will affect. I feel like it has affected a lot of different areas, but I feel like in this one position that we've been discussing, the one that's really been hindering my life is just like my relationships, and especially the one that I just got out of. It's really hard because I just feel like sometimes you get so down, you get so like brainwashed in the sense that you don't feel like
Sure.
you don't feel like you have that sense of being able to take control back. And I just think that I just want to feel like I can make my own decisions and be confident in what I'm doing and not feel like other people are running my life.
Okay. So, all right, Ashley. Well, that sounds great. I
Yeah,
appreciate you
I'm
sticking with me through all that. Go ahead.
sorry, you were breaking up a little bit.
Oh,
Um,
you're okay. Go ahead.
I just wanted to say like I'm sorry if my answers don't really make a lot of sense. I'm trying to kind of like I'm really trying to dig deep into what you're asking me. I just
Mm-hmm.
feel a little like uncertain of how to answer it. So if it's like if you hear me babbling a little bit, I'm hoping that you're able to gain a little bit of what I'm trying to say. I'm just not very good at expressing it. So
Definitely. I mean, these aren't easy questions. It's not easy to like reflect on yourself like that and like especially talk about it verbally when you're still trying to understand it yourself. Um, so to express it without even really understanding it yourself is a difficult thing in general. So it's completely normal, and as long as you give me answers, it gives me something to work off of, and that's really the purpose here. I'm just here to listen to you. So I appreciate everything you said today. And I look forward to seeing you again. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about today or go over before I walk you out?
no, I think that we talked about everything that was on my mind. So thank you.
All right, awesome. Well, I will see you next time, and hope everything goes well until then. Bye.
Okay, thank you.